Well, it's funny, because I saw this movie last night, and I really had no intention of reviewing it, but in all honesty, now that I've thought about it more and more, I just really want to talk about this. So, The Edge of 17 is a new coming-of-age story for this generation, much like The Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but more like Breakfast Club. And it surrounds the character of Nadine, who is an angsty, emotional wreck of a teenager who are we kidding? We all were. And she has gone through a series of emotional circumstances that haven't really given her a positive outlook on the world, and especially during the course of this movie, she feels cut off, she feels very alone, so she spends her days hanging out with her history teacher, who's played by Woody Harrelson, as she tries to meander and tries to survive the awfulness which was high school for most of us. And like I said, this movie was a complete surprise to me. I mean, I saw the trailers for this thing, and it looked like it was going to be some Hallmark Disney Channel original that would premiere on the weekends. But then I started hearing things that this movie is actually surprisingly awesome. And then I went in remembering that the movie was rated R and not knowing what to expect. But honestly, that's one of my favorite parts of this movie. Between the dialogue and the situational circumstances that the characters are put in, it is quintessential high school. I mean, there's a point in this movie where Nadine just cuts herself off, she's alone, she feels depressed, and she's just hanging out with this teacher all day, every day. And that was me for a good portion of my high school career, up until senior year. So I don't believe there's a single person who can go into this movie and not relate to it on some level. I mean, just from the dialogue. The dialogue and the way the characters speak, it's brash, it's vulgar, and it would make parents' hair stand on end. But let's be honest, all of us, at least one time in our life, during high school or college, we have had those kinds of conversations. But one of the bigger reasons this movie works so well is because of Haylee Steinfeld. Look, we all saw her in True Grit, and in my personal opinion, she was the best part of that entire movie. But she gives her absolute best performance as Nadine in this movie. Not only for the fact that she delivers comedic dialogue like an expert, but also the fact that she portrays high school as many of us portrayed high school when we were going to high school, and that is, the world all surrounds numero uno me, and the world is falling down. But I can't really decide what I liked more. Was it Haylee Steinfeld, or was it the relationship that Haylee Steinfeld built with Woody Harrelson? I mean, in all honesty, it was the kind of relationship where she would spit something at him, and he would spit it right back, but they build a mutual respect from their conversations, and it was really enjoyable and really funny to see. And who are we kidding? Woody Harrelson? He's a phenomenal actor. But it's the kind of situation where I had to take myself back and say, you know, if a teacher said that to a student, he would most likely get fired. But there's probably a bazillion teachers out there who have wanted to say this kind of stuff to students. And if I do have problems with the movie, it's ultimately because at a few points it became a little predictable. I knew exactly where the plot was going to go, I knew where the characters were going to go, and I knew who they were going to end up with. But ultimately, that just brings down the movie a little bit. Not an insane amount, but I can't express just how enjoyable this movie is. And I not only recommend that you see it because it's enjoyable, but the fact that this movie is so relatable. If you've walked through the doors of high school, if you've had a relationship of some kind, if you've had a crush on somebody, you're going to relate to this movie in some way. Go see this movie as soon as you can. But if you guys like what I had to say and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.